not about spaceships.
Hello, everyone. I am Jason Ward from MakingStarWars.net, and I hope you could hear me. Today, there's some kind of cool news that has hit on the Twitter.com machine. I need to share my tabs. Starting a little bit different today. Me and Rob got our booster shots yesterday. And I don't know if Rob's going to be under the weather. If he's not, we'll be on later on today, and we'll do some more Star Wars talk. But for now, I wanted to get to this story because it's fun, and I am excited to hear that a new Star Wars movie is in the works and will be filming next year. And what's crazy about it is this isn't the Feige film, and it's not Rogue Squadron. And so that is wild. Here we go. Here it is. So Big Screen Leaks, and Big Screen Leaks had the Boba Fett trailer coming out last week. They had that correct. So this isn't somebody who is just bullshitting. It's they have really recent current information that has panned out. So they say if there's a Star Wars film planning to shoot next year, it's not Taika's film, Feige's film, or Rogue Squadron. And I find that fascinating. Rian Johnson's film, as far as I know, his films, that was never squashed. That's always been possible. Well, could it be Ryan's film? It's worth considering. But I also kind of think we might want to potentially look back to February 21st, 2020. This story was well underreported. And I will also be honest with you. Anyways, I'm not going to go there. New Star Wars movie in the works with Slate filmmaker J.D. Dillard, best known for writing and directing the sci-fi Slate with Matt Owens, a writer on the Marvel shows Luke Cage and Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., has been tapped. Gotta love all of that. I don't want your fucking notifications, Heat Vision. Has been tapped because everything is like House of Mouse. Gotta get tapped. Oh, tapping you. I'm tapping you. Well, did you fucking tap him and give him a Star Wars movie or not? But to write a new Star Wars feature, sources tell The Hollywood Reporter. This was by Boris Kit, so it's not like it's a nobody at Hollywood Reporter, for instance, who just makes shit up or something and had one article on here. This person is a big film scooper. So as Lucasfilm maps out the next phase of Star Wars movies, executives are grappling with the question as development moves ahead, which characters and stories justify theatrical releases and which should arrive exclusively on the streaming platform Disney+. The Hollywood Reporter learned Friday that a new Star Wars project is in the works. J.D. Dillard, best known for writing blah, 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 Matt Owens, and then pretty much the same shit they already said. And then this part, I remember this kicked up, and this may kick up again. That's why I'm bringing it up. Plot, characters, and setting details are unknown and are being kept in the murky underworld of Exegol. That is just the writer being colorful, playing with Star Wars lingo. There's nothing to do with Exegol, and if I remember correctly, which I believe I am, they clarified that on Twitter. No, I'm not saying it's about Exegol. It has nothing to do with Exegol. So, but I think it's definitely worth considering up front that it's this film. That's my bet. My second bet would be the Rian Johnson film, and then after that, you could start going down to everyone who goes, I wish I was getting a Clone Wars movie. Oh, I bet you it's and I'd say the third rung of that is probably all of this Boba Fett story and the Mando story and the Ahsoka story and all of the things that are set in the same era. Maybe they do culminate in an Avenger style film. I think that's worth considering. Kathleen Kennedy played around with that idea, and before Kathleen Kennedy played around with that idea last year, or at the last earnings call or whatever, that was what the top Disney brass was saying as well. Your Alan the Horn Dog Horn, he was saying that, as was Bob Iger, and they were implying that if things had gone their way, obviously things didn't, but had it gone their way, Solo probably would have had a sequel and a Lando film, and then we would have had all of these various films meeting up together in an adventure style film. So that's been on the table. They know that format works because, a lot of the times they just make money by just throwing in shit that you all like. Me too. I'm not saying I'm exempt from that, but they just go, oh, you like Captain America? Oh, you like Iron Man? Oh yeah, how about Thor? Oh, how about this one-off character that we can make that cool if we get this person cast in it? And so they throw a bunch of stuff at the thing, and then it just kind of makes money overall because they could sell products from it, and they end up being fun stories, and that are very fan servicey, but it's good, right? People like it, so I'm not trying to shit on it, so to speak. But that said, I think we could be seeing that here, and for all we know, the JD Dillard film could be that. It really could. It could go so many different ways, and I will say, Freeman is like, no, Rian Johnson, please. I have to say, Rian Johnson is the best filmmaker of the generation of filmmakers who have made a Star Wars thing so far. Not to say he made the most fun Star Wars movie or anything like that. Maybe not. Maybe it's not maybe what he did wasn't as fun as Mandalorian, but he dealt with what he was given and the work that he had. Excuse me, just had breakfast, not a good idea to eat breakfast and jump on here. But anyways, that said, I just think that it's important to realize that if that guy has made original good films, and if he goes into making an original Star Wars movie that doesn't play with your emotions in a sense that it's Luke Skywalker or anything like that, and he's not jumping off of a J.J. Abrams picture. Because I'm going to be honest with you, I love J.J. Abrams movies. I don't think they're all that great overall. I don't think they're perfect, but I think he's a fun filmmaker. Rian Johnson's in a completely different class of filmmaker than J.J. Abrams, though. Like J.J. Abrams has never done anything as original as Looper, or gone as Knives Out, as I don't know what you want to call that. It's like Clue on crack, but it's great, and I think that's important. One other thing, by the way, and I just think that this is probably important to point out. A lot of people, they don't really know the creators in these films that well. And so the Dillard film is getting confused a lot with the Dear White People creator, Justin Simeon, who is doing the Orlando show. It's unfortunate. I don't think it's coming from a bad place as much as they know, like, oh, some black dude I don't know. I honestly think that's what it amounts to. But not the same creator. I got that a lot in my DMs today. Is this the Lando guy? Oh, didn't they think the Lando guy had a movie? And it's like, no, it's two different guys. So I just want to throw that out there. But with all of that said, I'm excited about it because I wish Rob was up now, but he works and stuff, a weird schedule. And but Rob has been completely cynical about the idea of Rogue Squadron shooting when it's supposed to. I'm always like, let's just see where it goes. You know what I mean? And but if this other film does go and shoot, and we are heading into a place that could be better in terms of our world's health. Like my kids are getting the shot on Saturday. And once my kids have the shot, I am much more inclined, if variants don't get too wild, to take them to the movie theater. Like I'm hoping to take them to see Ghostbusters in the theater after they have the shot. I think that is probably reasonable. And with that said, I kind of think that we could be moving into a place where the theater industry is going to open up a lot more with that. Because I mean, like me going to the movies without my kids, like that's I don't know, it just doesn't feel right. And when you do it, you feel like a little bit like kind of dirty, like oh man, like I shouldn't be able to go do this if they can't do it. So, anyways, with that said, yeah, this is a pretty exciting news. And if anybody else has any ideas or any connections that I haven't made yet, because I woke up, made breakfast, went and got my Diet Dr. Pepper, and dropped the kids off at school. And now I am trying to process this information. But I felt like jumping on with you guys and just hitting it off early in the morning while it was hot, you know. And then Ryoko says, "Isn't Rogue Squadron by Patty Jenkins the next theatrical film?" Yeah, that's what we thought, and apparently things are changing, or things have changed. And there's a lot of weird stuff. Like the one other thing I want to throw out there is that my sources told me about a High Republic film, and they're like, the High Republic film is next, and it came out of the ashes of the Game of Thrones dudes who left, got a big ass check, and we're like, see ya, Luke Skywalker. I don't blame them. I kind of get it. It was like hundreds of millions of dollars. They could go probably film their own Star Wars movie just for themselves with the amount of money they got off that. So, anyways, they said that there was going to be a High Republic film, and I was like, oh, and like that was the plan. And then we ended up with this weird media event thing, and then when Acolyte was announced, I thought, okay, so the film became a TV show, or my sources thought a TV show was a film. That which makes sense, I guess. It could go that way. And with how these things go, they're not much different, in terms of like what the work that's being done. So could this be the High Republic movie? A part of me wants to say that that probably seems more likely. I mean, all of this High Republic stuff that we've been having, I'm going to be honest, I'm not going to like sugarcoat it. The High Republic stuff to me overall has been like, oh, that's a fascinating idea. And then I go and I read the stuff and it's pretty soulless. It's just how I would describe it. It's like, it doesn't have any romance to it. And I don't mean like sexual kind of stuff. I mean like it doesn't have a good romantic space adventure, space opera vibe to it as I'm reading it. It feels like good ideas. It's like a romantic weekend that has been over planned. And but it's so on the tracks, it just doesn't work for me. And I'm hoping that when stuff starts I'm hoping like when Acolyte hits, then I start to feel a stronger connection to that content. But right now, I read that first wave of books and it was a long, hard slog for me. A lot of the stuff felt like stuff that would be cool if you were in fifth grade and your teacher was like, Ben Maynard, go get a book from the shelf and shut up. And then real Ben Maynard goes up and gets the book and it sits there and it's like, okay, this is fun. There's laser swords, space critters, stuff like that. But yeah, I don't know, man. I'm not sure what to expect. I have a feeling though that I have a hope that they are anticipating, as we are able to come out from underground like the bald dude in THX 1138 and stand up and look at the sun, go outside and go to the movie theaters again, that we're going to want to see a ton of movies. And they're like, you know what? Let's get those Star Wars movies rolling. Like let's be there for that. And that's my hope. But yeah, Ben, I will send you the article in a little bit if you can't find it. So Mr. Lopez says Rian Johnson needs to stay away from Star Wars, from the Star Wars we all know. That aside, they're going to have half of the fandom not showing up to theaters to begin with. Because of Rian Johnson or because of the world that we live in? I don't want to say it, or YouTube will suppress the video entirely. Not enough. No, nobody watches this shit anyway, but you know what I mean. But it's like I don't believe that. I think the people, the biggest of the anti Rian Johnson people, they're the same people that are saying that they don't care about watching Star Wars today because Gina Carano is not in it, because the fucking fighter that can barely act isn't in it. It's like, who cares? I mean, oh god, and like I rewatched season 2 of Mandalorian, right? She's fine in Star Wars. Star Wars doesn't require like a lot of depth, you know? It just doesn't. It's not like, it's good when you have a really good actor. It doesn't require a really good actor. If you're a prequel fan like me, you're like, okay, I could get by with it. You know what I was hated about Cara Dune is the fact that her name is Cara Dune, which is, it sounds like Tatooine, right? Dune, and it's also a movie now, a book, but she's supposed to be from Alderaan. Like, the big twist is she's from Alderaan, and it's like, that's stupid. Like, oh, this is Bail Organa from House Organa, and this is House Dune. It just doesn't go together. It's sorry, but it's just like, it's a bunch of like random bullshit that got hodgepodge together into a story for her. So I don't really give a shit if we see her again. But those people like that, they're just mad because they want to use Star Wars as a political platform to launch into and then get young people into their mindset. The people who say that they hate politics the most, or that they don't want Star Wars to be around politics, are the people that are actually using it the most. So will they use Rian Johnson if it was a Rian Johnson thing? Yeah, they will. But they will also just use whoever else is next. So like, I don't think Lucasfilm can go, ooh, Rian Johnson cooties. Nah, they'll just find something else to pick out. You know what I mean? Watch when the Leslie Headland stuff starts really getting going. I bet you we see it all come up there. That's my guess. When you have a gay woman who won't put up with your shit, oh, they're not gonna like that. But Lopez says, oh yeah, I already read that one. Mr. Del Rio. Johnson is a better filmmaker than JJ, but JJ makes films that are fun, which is an important ingredient for a Star Wars film. This is also true. And it's why, in a weird way, that he had so much power to make a fun film and made one fun film. I don't know, man. It's like nine is fun. It's not done. It's half baked, you know? So Joel's all, Rob has never been cynical about anything. Yeah. Salvador, Ben Solo movie. There's a rumor about that. My opinion, the rumor about that is probably bullshit. Because I asked about that and I got eye rolled. Ben says, "Gosh, High Republic cringe level up. I'll give it a chance. We got one though. Yeah, I think judging Acolyte, for instance, by the merits of the very, in my opinion, very, I don't know. It's not trash. It's just forgettable. It just doesn't click. And but I think a live action story is completely a different caliber and game. And like because High Republic that we have now feels like somebody took their RPG sessions and wrote books about it. You know, we're watching somebody else play a game, not a video game, but a role-playing game. That's just how it feels to me. And I don't think the live action shows will. And there's nothing that makes the era bad or not work or anything like that. You know what I mean? It just it's just has to do with the fact that they have these like main events in the galactic history, and then what connects them is kind of boring, and the characters are, in my opinion, just so juvenile that I can't connect to it, you know. And when they don't have, I could watch a Clone Wars episode about 5 kids going to get crystals in a cavern to get their lightsabers, and it's a bunch of adults talking like babies, which is a little bit annoying. I'll be honest with you. The voices kind of get on my nerves at times in that episode, but I could hang with it. But yeah, Ben says High Republic is so bad. I can't lie. I can't connect with it. It's meh. Yeah, it's like I said. It's like I'm with you, but I think a film could be what fixes all of that. And when I say fixes, I don't think it was. I don't think if it is, I don't think they said, "Hey, we're making it a bunch of dog shit. Let's go make something cool now. Let's go fix it." Like that's kind of like the internet attitude about how things work. It's like, nah, things were probably put into motion before anybody knew if that stuff was going to be great or not. You know, there was probably a time when they're like, boy, we hope the TV show and the movie lives up to these films or to this TV show or whatever. But Mr. Lopez says, because of Rian Johnson, I like Knives Out. I think he can do great things. But yeah, a lot of people will not see a Star Wars movie directed by him. See, I know, I get what you're saying, but I think that is from within our bubble. In reality, I'm talking about the general moviegoer. They don't know who Rian Johnson is, and they barely actually know who a J.J. Abrams is. They know J.J., but they barely know J.J. And Rian Johnson, I don't think they have any clue who he is. And I think all they really have to do is say Knives Out director Rian Johnson in all of their PR materials. And then the robotic press will pick that up and be like, Knives Out, Rian Johnson. And then, you know, because the majority of the money comes from hardcore Star Wars fans, or one big part of it. And then the rest is just people who are going to see a Star Wars movie. They don't even really get it. They don't even care. The people who showed up to see Rogue One and was like, whoa, why is Rey totally different now? You know? It's very much, I don't think it matters. But I will also say that when you look at if you want to just gauge, if we want to play like, if we want to live inside the bubble though, the Star Wars bubble, and look at it all that way, well, what do we end up having? We end up having a bunch of dudes that feel like Rian Johnson called them man babies, so they can't get over it. They can't stop crying. And then on the other half, we have a bunch of adult children, like Raylos, who are going around and crying and saying that JJ killed their whole lives. Like, it's a bunch of babies. They're all a bunch of fucking babies on both sides. And one side loves Rian Johnson and one side doesn't. But I will also say that the side who doesn't love Rian Johnson, they will go where the money is. So if it ends up being cool to love Star Wars by that time, they'll be right back sucking that Rian Johnson D. Carlos says the film that we'll be shooting is probably Rogue Squadron. It comes out in 2023. But the scooper is saying otherwise. The scooper, who I'm going to believe if they have this, and it's literally saying it's not Taika's film or Rogue Squadron, and it's accurate, then I think we have to take that into account. Because I'm with you. I mean, I wasn't expecting this, but I did. One thing that I want to add, and not to try to co-opt anybody's story, but I had a thing I downplayed a little bit. But my people are over here near where I live are hearing that big things are coming to Manhattan Beach, and there is going to be like around 10 things just there alone. That doesn't include whatever they do in Pinewood. And if they are going to be shooting Rogue Squadron, if Rogue Squadron's not pushed back, and Acolyte's filming at Pinewood, and that it's like maybe they're going to be making a Star Wars movie over here. You know, I think that is very, very possible. Oh yeah, I had a couple of things I wanted to show you guys before I forget. This is from yesterday. Here, I'll put that one. Need to send these over to my computer real quick. Get them off of my El Telefono, because I think you guys might find this stuff kind of interesting. Not that we necessarily need it. I mean, we knew Uncle Owen and Aunt Beru were in the Star Wars movie, right? Like, and Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, that didn't really surprise anybody. But see these right here? Make sure this is coming up. Yeah. So see the old Lars Homestead from the old Star Wars movies that you know. Well, see these little bad boys right here. Okay. So I saw a piece of this house, okay? And it was not very interesting. It was in pieces. But what I want to show you now is that I got this other picture. Wait, here it is. All right, there we go. Come on. Don't be a punk. Oh my God, this thing is so dumb. My phone took it as an HEIC. And so it's being a little bitch. Well, hold on. I'm going to screenshot it and then drop that in. So, all right, here we go. Here I go. All right, where'd the screenshot go? There it is. All right, screenshot. Get in there. All right. So, really lame to some extent. Oh, wait, did I not drop it in the right spot? I didn't drop it in the right spot. I am fucking up today, you guys. Hold on. I can do this, I promise. The boomer can do it. Here we go. So, yeah. See these little bad boys up here? See these guys? Those are those little tops right there. They're moving that stuff out of the studio space, and they are putting it in storage, I assume, because they're filming Mandalorian there, and they're moving out all of the old Kenobi trash. But there you go. There's some moisture evaporators, which I think, and the ones that go to the Lars Homestead, which makes me think we are going to be seeing the Lars Homestead for sure. Most likely. That seems to be the most likely scenario. So anyways, yeah. Ben says, I don't care about anyone's politics. I'm friends with all different politically aligned people. Yeah, I mean, that's at the end of the day, that was kind of what I found interesting or funny about Star Wars people is both sides are crazy. I mean, at the end of the day, and they act like children. Maybe I have at times too. I don't know. Probably. But the thing about it, what's funny is the like at one point I had my reasons, but I talked to a dude from the Phantom Menace, and people went crazy about it, like it was like I was trying to play both sides or something like that. And it's like I didn't get anything out of that. But what would Padme do? Padme goes and meets with Count Dooku. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere if you just become isolationist, you know? And if you think your side's right, if you think you're right about in your beliefs, being an isolationist isn't going to help you rub off on them at all either. I mean, that's like my take. And I do think it's important that I'm not a centrist by any means. I really think the side I'm not on is usually very wrong. That said, just being a snob and smelling my own farts and not talking to them and having no conversations and letting them live in their little bubble leads to people thinking that JFK Jr. is going to show up on a rocket pack someday and bring back something that was never real, which still blows my mind. So, anyways, here we go. Hey, Mr. Ant-Man. Ant-Man's like, yeah, up early. So yeah, and that's fair. So I don't think all of us who don't like Rian Johnson should be dumped in the same category as the crazy right wing camp. And you are right. I mean, like you could totally just not have liked that movie. The loudest voices of it that I had to deal with and that I encountered were that though. You know what I'm saying? Like that was my experience, and ostensibly what you can still see are the people who, or that what's left of that. But I don't think I don't think there was any choice Rian Johnson made in that movie that people on, and I'm not saying personal nitpicks that we could all come up with just to say like I'm being too general. The big things. Luke Skywalker this, Luke Skywalker that, that kind of jazz. The stuff that mostly happened, that was mostly the problem, had to do with his interpretation of someone else's interpretation in the brain and in their brain, and how they thought it should be handled, or with some like that it was somehow disrespectful or something like that. But that's why I think if he makes his own characters and tells his own story in his own Star Wars movie, I think it'll be good. Excuse me. Man, gotta say, I got the booster yesterday, and it is a delayed reaction in terms of I felt a little bit of that fog that kind of came over me the first times. This time, it's a little bit worse the second day. Strange. I thought I was out of it, but Luke says, sorry, just to clarify, it being the Game of Thrones. Oh, did I must have lost your other comment here, Mr. Luke. But yeah. Okay, so and then Kenneth says, or I wonder if Rogue Squadron got moved up. Yeah, I'm not trying to scare anybody and say like Rogue Squadron is being pushed back or anything like that, but there was a little bit of stuff that made it seem like, well, is it or isn't it? But we did hear about people getting hired on. So, and we didn't hear about it being canceled. Like where I'm going, what I'm trying to say is when you hear about people getting picked up for things to do in a production, usually they get let go. And then you go, oh, it's canceled. You start to hear it sounds bad. So Real says, I don't like The Last Jedi, and it's not because of politics. I just think the movie stinks. Take the director's name off it, and I still think it stinks, but that's the fun of talking movies with others. Yeah, see, I feel like it is the strongest of them. If you go to Star Wars Santa's show, we were breaking down the themes of what are the themes of the sequel trilogy. Next Monday morning, we're going to do the Rise of Skywalker. But when we're breaking down the themes of it, it's like, I think it's a very well done script. You know, I think everything really kind of is layered and connective in a good way. But at the same time, that movie had a specific job that it had to do, and I think it did a good job with what it was given personally. But Valkyrie King says, perhaps there's a slight chance they will reveal the Star Wars film you're referencing on Disney Plus Day. I think that's that really could be the case. I mean, it may be outside of, if it's a theatrical film, it could be a film coming right to Disney Plus. They did say that they weren't interested in doing that at one point, but maybe they will. Maybe they were. I think they were kind of like, if we're going to do a film, we will just put it out in the theater. If not, we'll just do a series. But it could, I mean, you could be onto something. There is a chance that if they could just be like, and Star Wars looks bright with this and these films in 2020, whatever, and it might be there. But it is out of the jurisdiction of Disney Plus Day if it's not a Disney Plus film. It's like they got county lines. Like if you get over the county line, they can't arrest you. Just the way it is. Hey Eric, how's it going, dude? The Last Jedi was the best of the sequels. Anyone who thinks it did look like dirty has their head stick in the old EU books and didn't pay attention to the OT. Yeah, I am with you. Oh no, it's Comic Artist Pro Secrets. I can't talk to you. I can't be a Padme. I'm kidding. Here we go. Mr. Lopez says, I get what you mean about the bubble and the normies, but at the same time, you're talking about one side of man babies versus the other, and that's why I don't think it's a safe investment for Disney. Yeah, I don't know. I just don't think people know who Rian Johnson is. I feel like whenever I am out, I haven't been out in a long time with this whole thing, obviously, but when we go out and start talking movies with somebody, I don't think people know who Rian Johnson is, and I think the Star Wars movies, so many were thrown at them at once that like general audiences are just like, it's all a big thing. It's like the Marvel movies. If you go and if we were inside the Marvel side of things and we said a Marvel director, to most people, they don't know who it is. I don't know who they are. I don't know who directed a lot of them. And but anyways. So that photo looks awesome. Yeah, I was out there with my kids, and my kids are like, that's the top of Luke Skywalker's house. And I'm like, yeah. My son was excited. My daughter kind of didn't give a shit. But Eric says Luke's character is consistent with how life played out for both Yoda and Obi-Wan. Luke wanted to die in ESB when he learned his Vader was his father. Same reaction he had after failing Kylo. Yeah. I mean, I've tweeted about that before. I've been like, he had a tendency to be like, I'll just die, just kill me. I'll give up. But it is what it is. JFK Jr. shouldn't be allowed to fly anything if he's still alive. Yeah. Well, I mean, if he, I guess if he's still alive, maybe he's Harrison Ford. Just gonna throw that out there. He might be Harrison Ford. Valkyrie says, we'll probably be seeing Ryan's Star Wars film. Absolutely did not like The Last Jedi, but liked Knives Out. The man has merit and potential, in my own opinion. Hopefully his intentions will align with the audience. Yeah, and that's like I think you bring up a really good I don't know, the damned if you do, damned if you don't about Star Wars is the intentions of the audience are so wide and so varied. It's really difficult to make everybody happy without it being a retread. Like The Force Awakens is a retread. It is structurally a retread, especially. But everybody left that one happy. But did the happiness stay? You know what I mean? Did they have, or did it kind of was it a fleeting happiness? I don't know. I feel like I was a little bit more into it when it came out than I am now. But when I watch it now, I'm like, okay, it's a fun Star Wars movie. It's just like what George Lucas said. It didn't really bring anything new to the table. That's other than like BB-8, which I still think is amazing. But Mark Hamilton, Jason, that this J.D. Dillard movie picked up what the Game of Thrones guys have been working on. Is that right? Because if that's the case, then that would make a lot of sense that it's probably the High Republic, right? I mean, everything did sound like it was, going that way. What politics in The Last Jedi? Maybe you look at things and automatically politicize it. Well, there are actual overt politics in there. Like, it does literally have a conversation between Finn and Rose about the politics of war. And it's actually, when you get down to it, very much George Lucas's politics. You could see the same scene almost playing out in Indiana Jones, the Young Indiana Jones Chronicles. You have young Indy, and he's in Mexico, and Pancho Villa is taking over. He's riding with him. He realizes this guy's kind of an asshole, if I remember right. It's kind of like he's going back and forth about him. And then he meets a villager, and the villager says, when the federales or whatever, I can't, my history is bad with Mexico, I'm sorry. But when the other guys came, they stole my chickens. When Pancho Villa comes, he steals my chickens. And that is a pretty much, I think, defines the 1960s era cynicism imbued within the very essence of Star Wars itself. And with that, you end up having that moment with DJ. DJ is representative of that attitude, more in that, like, you know, that beatnik New York kind of way when you get down to it, to some extent. But it does literally, but I don't really get, you know, they're saying that gambling's bad. They're saying that, but people took it to mean American success is bad. And it does not say that. There's a difference between being successful in America and owning a fucking casino. And there's a difference between being successful in America and being a war profiteer. But the people who think anything goes is okay, they had a problem with it. So there was that politic in there, and there was the fact that it, like, you know, there were little bits, I think, of race that came into play for those people too. It's like there are times I feel like when I may have overreacted to people saying something, but I did get the emails from people that were mad that a stormtrooper was black. Like, I got lots of those emails. I also had, like, you know, but at the same measure, I had the same crazy kid who was threatening to kill me because I said Luke Skywalker has like 1 or 2 scenes. See, so, but my perspective ends up being like, just what you hear coming at you becomes a dominant voice. And then some guy's like, I don't know about this or that. And then you're like, well, okay. You know, it ends up playing weird. So what you end up having is a very, very messy situation. Rick says, I hope the rumored film is Rian Johnson's and it's about ancient history disconnected from the timelines. Yeah, I have a feeling Rian Johnson isn't going to return to Star Wars to be like, oh, let's go play with Han Solo again. You know, I don't think so. I think he's going to want to do Star Wars with his hands not tied to anything else. And the fact that it's a trilogy, or was supposed to be a trilogy, I think says probably a lot about what the intention was. So that's my guess anyways. Let me see if this thing. So, okay. Mr. Del Rio says, I hear most of the cast say they would come back to work with JJ. And I don't think any have said they would come back for Rian. So to some extent, what I think we are seeing is JJ Abrams owns a very big production company that makes very many things. And so you definitely, if you were going to throw out one butt kiss, it's going to be to him. And also there are things that I think like Finn was done dirty. I think everybody agrees in the big picture. I heard of stories of licensees who were told Finn was the main character, produced tons of Finn merchandise, and then it was Rey. Then they got in trouble by the fans. Excuse me, who were being said like, "Where's all the Rey merchandise? Why don't you make Rey stuff?" Because they were told Finn was the main character. And I think Boyega was told Finn was the main character as well, or, you know, one of the main characters was supposed to be like the important one. And then it was Rey. That's fine. But what you ended up with was and then I think when Poe was put in, when Poe became not a guy who just died, I think a lot of Finn's attributes got splintered off and put onto Poe Dameron. And so I don't feel like Finn got to really be as actualized of a hero as he should have been. But what did JJ do for Boyega? At the very end, he had him have the Force. And he made that be the little what moment from episode 9. If it works for you or it doesn't, it is what it is. But that's where they took it, right? So that gave him I think a good future with Star Wars. I think that made it where fans will always be asking, what's Finn doing now? Did Finn become a Jedi? How did it go? How does it go down? So he planted that seed, and I think in a weird way, he guaranteed Boyega doesn't have to save for retirement right now. You know what I'm saying? Like he's going to have another job. And I think that was a really cool thing. Like I said, I was hearing during the production that he wasn't telling Rey I'm a Jedi or I have the Force. He was to tell Rey I love you. And the one moment in the film that still doesn't make sense that I think vindicates that is when they're about to sink in the sand and be killed, as far as they know, and it's Rey, I have to tell you something. Well, what are you going to tell somebody before you die in Star Wars? You're going out into the Geonosian arena? Anakin, before we die, I want you to know I'm a Jedi too. Fine, use the Force, help me. No, he's going to say I love you. And so I think that changed. And I think it changed when they started to look at what they had done for him, what they had done with him. And I think JJ did him a big solid. That's my interpretation of the stuff I've heard. So, oh yeah, one other side note. Excuse me. Was yesterday we had a Palpatine or we had the Doctor Who guy. We had that story, right? About how he was going to be in Star Wars and none of that came from nowhere. So I had somebody DMing me going like, man, I don't believe him. Like, I think he's lying. And number one, I want to say, like, I don't think we should call anybody a liar based off of the things that like I'm hearing, but there was something that came to mind. And it was that he said that he never did a costume test. There was never even a costume test. And I could go with, Palpatine robes. If he was just going to wear the Palpatine costume and they know his dimensions, they probably don't have to do a lot. They probably have to like get him in it and then size a little bit after that. So probably like not that hard of a thing, But I do remember somebody was fired from episode 9 for talking, and it was in the costume department, and it was for talking about him and black robes. So I remember this was a big thing, and I knew of it, and then I ended up linking up with somebody else in the know who brought it up to me first. So I know I didn't like suggest it and then it became a thing. They already knew this. So there's something there. There's more to the story. I just don't know what it is. So Kevin Collectibles says Disney had no plans for Star Wars. Disney's attitude towards Star Wars fans that we would just throw money at them. No respect. I could see your perspective there. I don't think that's what it was though. What it was that you had to do a trilogy of films. They thought they already, when they announced around the tentative release date, which was supposed to be, I think, May of 2015, which was then pushed to December of 2015. They believed that they had already had a work print to move from. And as they went into what George Lucas had for them, it didn't work for them. They didn't want to do it. So Disney wanted the stuff to come out. They were put up against, a difficult situation. I think you don't go back and hire Lawrence Kasdan. You don't convince J.J. Abrams. You don't delay the film. You don't, all the stuff like that. And it's like a no respect situation. If it was a no respect situation, it would have been like, they would have just got somebody to direct, like who, I don't know, somebody who did John Carter or Mars or something. The movie would have come out in May of 2015 and it would have been a worse film. So, before Lucasfilm, no one was making Star Wars movies. Just want to throw that out there, and people who tried always failed. to make the, John Carter on Mars. I enjoy the movie for what it is. I don't really watch it for fun. It's on right now, actually. But most people never got close. The thing I will say about Disney era Star Wars is a lot of the times it does seem like it's a Star Wars movie. And that's more than most studios or most any production companies ever able to do. Kroll and shit like that's fun, but do you feel like you're watching Return of the Jedi when you watch it? Not really. At least I don't think so, anyways. So Eric says Luke didn't kill himself. He stopped moping, trained Rey, and died using the Force, saving the Resistance. It was a great way to go. It was handled way worse in Episode 9. That scene was trash. Yeah, that's I agree with you there. See, the thing about it is like a lot of the arguments, I think, end up getting the discourse around the arguments gets solidified by people who don't watch the movie enough or haven't watched the movie but have talked about it for hours and maybe watched it for 2 hours to 4 hours, like twice. And but Luke isn't just that. He comes full circle. He has a complete character arc. If he was just like, I'm Luke Skywalker and I'm here to rescue you, and does exactly like what he says he's not going to do, if showed up with his lightsaber and just stick on the whole Empire all by himself and just did that, then we don't fucking need Rey. We don't need Finn. We don't need Poe. They can just go home. Luke Skywalker could just show up and clean house. But there's no character arc there. There really isn't. And they left him on that island at the end. And like he's there for Rey. Why wasn't he there during The Force Awakens? I think Rain Roberts was the one who came up with that idea. JJ said, hell yeah. They put it into the movie. They codenamed it Magic Mountain, by the way. Everything else had Disneyland names. That one was Magic Mountain because it's, it's a ways away. It's over here, away from Anaheim. And so anyways, yeah. What were you going to do with that? Oh, I am here studying the secrets of Octu Island. I don't know. I think he did a good job personally, but I do hope. Yeah, and I am with you. The stuff in 9 was just too. It was breaking the fourth wall or whatever. Like I felt like he was gonna look at the camera. It just was. It was too. It was. I don't know. Saccharin's the word. It was. Yeah, fuck it. I don't like it. Is there any chance at all we'll see Natalie Portman as a surprise in Kenobi by a flashback, or no chance? I don't know. I mean, no one told me that. No one mentioned that to me. It seems like one of the things that I would have been told, considering some of the stuff I have been told. So there's always a chance, I guess, though. I mean, yeah, I don't know, man. I don't think so, though. Matt Smith was for sure young Palpatine. Yeah, I think he was rejuvenated Palpatine. And then there was that stuff about the like Sith King stuff, and maybe if they were going to do the Sith King route, they would have had it where young Palpatine is the Sith King, something like that, And Darth Del Rio says, did Lucasfilm ever have the time to plan a whole trilogy? Iger seemed pretty insistent that the first film come out in 2015. Yeah, that's exactly it. If George Lucas's synopsis, if the Michael Arndt treatments had been accepted, I think they would have been able to hit the ground completely running. And they really wanted Abrams. They were really convinced that Abrams was the guy to lead it. When Abrams didn't want to make it, and Disney agreed with them, I think that's when things got more messy. At the same time, I mean, the original trilogy wasn't planned either. The prequel trilogy was the most planned, got the most shit, probably. So, I still don't know if the world or Hollywood or Disney or Lucasfilm know how to do this. I don't know if anybody does. I also don't know I don't think George Lucas did. I think he winged it. and we can't go pretend like Phantom Menace came out and people were like, well, he did it again. I thought he did. It did for me. It hit the mark. All three of those prequel movies, I left just like, whoa, I love this, and I watch them all the time still. So they worked for me. But am I going to pretend like Hollywood was that way? No. And to an extent, like Star Wars is a phenomenon, was a phenomenon, whatever. And you can't really recreate it. You can't go back and say if the Beatles were still around, they couldn't say we're gonna make Beatlemania happen again. Beatlemania happened, and after that, you're just getting more, and that's where we end up in this weird place because when people first experience Star Wars, it can be it's very transform. It's like a transformation in possibilities for what entertainment can be. That dopamine hit you get off of it as a kid, it's that dragon on your back you're chasing forever. And with that in mind, you end up in a spot where that's not going to happen again. Like, I'm never going to go see a Star Wars movie and be afraid of Gamorrean guards. Like, Return of the Jedi was a great experience for me. Like, it was a good Star Wars movie. It's not the best Star Wars movie, but it was a good Star Wars movie. And there were things scaring me throughout it, and it was just thrilling the whole time. I can never have that experience as an adult. Gamorrean guards are never going to scare me. The monsters in Jabba's palace are never going to be freaky. In fact, I was thinking about it last night. I was like, I used to, and this is where you go, do I still love Star Wars as much as I used to? Because I used to look at Reese and be like, Reese is so fucking cool looking. Look at Reese. Look at him. Just look at him. And now Reese could get arrested. They designed so much good content and monsters and creatures all the time. In a way, Reese is less special to me than he was at one time with all of the Star Wars. There's so much more to gravitate towards. It's really, really strange. It's a weird thing to experience, I think. Mr. Lopez says, dude, if Luke was going to die for a Force-gasm anyways, why not go there? That was the problem for me. Not that he was going to die. They kept him aside just to elevate the rest, and that sucked. Well, so I buy the story. Luke Skywalker, I think Luke Skywalker goes to Ahch-To knowing he's going to die. He's going to kill himself, but in a certain perspective, when he goes there to kill himself, it's because of shame. But in reality, he's going there to meet his demise, but for a much more noble thing. He just doesn't know it yet because Yoda hasn't taught him the final lesson. And as he comes to realize what he has to do, and I'm going to throw it out there too. Like when Christ knows he's going to be killed, he's going to be crucified. He doesn't want to do it. He is resistant to it. And in a lot of ways, I feel like Luke is sort of handled Christ-like in this. And but then he does accept what he has to do and what has to be done for his people, and he does it. So why not just go there? Well, Luke wouldn't go there too because in Return of the Jedi, you get the impression he's become a pacifist. He throws his lightsaber down. And I never liked the fact that at the end of Return of the Jedi, he has a lightsaber back on his belt, though. I thought that was a mistake. But he does go and he does pick up the Jedi ways, and he falls back into the old problem that the Jedi have, is that his hubris, because you have to remember who Luke became. Luke became the dude who saved the galaxy, and Grogu, the galaxy and Grogu. And but he started to believe his own shit, and also became, I think, a little self-important in some of that, thinking that I'm the one who can do it. I'm the one who has to do it. And I think that's an easy thing to fall into especially when people are looking to you. Then you start to feel like you have to act, like you have to do what they need. You're the only one. And when he makes that mistake with his nephew, I mean, that's a shameful thing. I think, but I also think it's like superhuman mistake. And have we've all asked ourselves if we could time travel? Like, I mean, when you're in history class and you're learning about Nazi Germany, you're like, if I could travel back in time, do I leg drop little baby Hitler? Like, you think about that stuff. And you ask yourself that. Luke Skywalker had that moment in a vision while looking at little baby Hitler in his bed. And it was a mistake. And he admits it. And then also a misunderstanding, but a shameful one. And I think that is actually super brave. Having the bravery to have Luke Skywalker make a shameful mistake is good. It's good for the story. It's good for the character. And I think at the end of it, he does realize, like, he comes to the conclusion of like, yeah, I did come here to die. I do have to do this thing. I don't want to die. Maybe he doesn't want to die. I don't know. I think he doesn't want to die. I think the human impulse to stay alive, which is also probably why he didn't take the lightsaber and just slit that wrist already. And so he's a lot, but he's living in misery, and he's cutting himself off from the Force, and then he reconnects. And when he does it, he lives up to the Luke in Return of the Jedi. He doesn't actually have his lightsaber out. He's not actually fighting. He goes there and he just makes a point. And if he had shown up there physically, the walkers would have destroyed him. They would have blasted him into oblivion. And if he had jumped around like he was, Space Batman, okay, I guess. But he still would have had to have fought Kylo. Chances are Kylo coming at him in full power at the time. All this shit, I mean, you could wrestling this up all you want, but I feel like what he did was the most powerful, peaceful way of doing it. And he gave only the person who perished, and it was him. And he made the point to Kylo, and that point to the resistance, and also in doing so, ended up becoming a bigger legend. Because the thing about it is, the rest of the galaxy, when they heard the story, an apparition of Luke showed up, and the ghost of Skywalker fought. I think that idea could be powerful for future stories, if, like, for characters like Broom Boy and other ideas that they had, to continue the story forward. Because if Luke just shows up, nobody knows the story of Luke. Nobody knows what really happened. All they know is he showed up and saved the resistance. And in 9, when all those people show up, I like to think that it has something to do with that too. But that is just me. But at the same time, if it doesn't work for you, it just doesn't work for you. But, based off of what's on screen, it worked okay for me. Ryan says, I like the way Luke was portrayed in the sequel trilogy, but I think it should have been covered. It should have been covered episode 7 and then him die in 8. Yeah, it does. It does always kind of feel like once we have the story of a trilogy that is unplanned. No, even the planned trilogy, like in a lot of ways, Attack of the Clones really probably should have been the first of those movies, of the prequel films. But because the things that happened, and it always felt like to get to the end and there wasn't enough time. And had things just been kind of planned out better. But we have 2 trilogies that were freeballed, 1 trilogy that was planned, and everybody hated all of them except for the first 2 films. So I really don't know what the right answer is. I mean, what I like the idea that things are planned out, but I also like the idea that they are able to kind of, react to what's going on. And I think that's what they were maybe going for for a time with the sequel trilogy. And that's what we got in episode 9, though. I feel like we just got a very J.J. Abrams reacting to everything and not making the bravest of choices, But I'm excited. I don't know if we'll end up getting that Rian Johnson movie next. I do doubt it. I do doubt that it's the next one, but that's never been officially canceled or had the kibosh put on it. And anything is possible. So anyways, I think we're going to end this stream here now, and we will maybe come back in a little while. I'm going to see how our buddy's doing, how Rob's doing, who got his booster shot yesterday too. And he wasn't sure if he would make it today because he was getting it. So it was always kind of like iffy. And I got some cool stuff planned, but we have this cool story today. Wanted to get to it and get it out of the way. So yeah, but if anything happens, send me a message on Twitter. Let me know what's up, and we'll jump back on and get back to business. But and if I don't see you guys before, thank you, Mr. Kevin's Cool Collectibles, for the chat. It's always a good time hanging out with my Star Wars buds. And one last comment before we go from Caleb says, well, yeah, I still say George should have made the prequels a few years earlier. Then we might have gotten actual props and stuff and not CGI nightmares we got instead. Yeah, but if he didn't do that, we don't end up getting all of the films that we have now. The beautiful imagery that we got in Rogue One doesn't happen if George Lucas doesn't end up making the prequels when he did, because it pushed CGI forward by years at that at all of the stuff that happened there. So Luke Skywalker, kind of Messiah-like, and ILM's prequels, the Messiah of film, the savior by a CGI. But yeah, I'm joking, obviously, but a lot of it is it was a good thing. Everything happened the way it happened, and I think that we are finally getting to a place where we might have some fun Star Wars coming, in the sense that Mandalorian, for the most part, makes everybody happy because it's not connected to anything else, just by itself. Just like, what's going to happen? Who's this guy? What's he about? And so I can't wait until we get beyond Luke, Leia, and Han being everything, and we're able to enjoy something new. You know what I mean? So, hey, Mr. Jorge, how's it going, dude? And yeah, so anyways, I will see you guys in a bit, or see you guys. I think me and Rob might do a UFO show tomorrow, maybe with Jason. I'm not sure. I haven't talked to him yet, but we might do a UFO show tomorrow, and we might be back later on today. I'll have to see how Rob is feeling. But if Rob is sick and I'm only like kind of just feeling off, I win. I'm Booster. He's Turbo Man. I'm Booster. All right, I'll see you guys later.
It's not about spaceships.
Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show. Making Star Wars Show.